Hey guys, my name is Earl, and I'm here today to teach you or to show you what I know about the no-nonsense tester by Carol Nagel. I'm running this on MT4. I have the paid version for MT5, but I find that MT4 still has a lot more indicators. This is what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so I have here on my screen is just a random pair. This is Aussie yen on the daily. So what I'll be showing you is how you can use this tester to test for different indicators. But for this basic one, we're going to be testing 4 indicators. So that will be a baseline cross, a 2-lines cross, and an opposite 2-line cross, and a 0-line cross. So the 2-line and the opposite 2-line, they may look the same when you look at the chart, but when you test it out, you'll see a difference, and I'll show you in a while. Okay, so right now what we'll load up first will be a baseline. Okay, so let me just go ahead and just pick one here, anything that I could find. All right, okay, so if you would see that this is a baseline, so the rule for the baseline is when the candle crosses up and over the baseline and closes. If you were following the no-nonsense forex way, you would take the trade before the close of that candle. But the tester would actually take it at the open of the next candle. So basically, there's very little difference with regards to the price, and it should move normally as if you entered it at the close. Okay, so once you've loaded up the tester, now I just basically leave everything to default at first as my basic test. That way I would know that all the indicators I tested are following the same rules. Once I have the indicators that I want, and if I want to tweak them, that's when I start messing with the settings. Okay, but for our exercise today, everything here is basic. I usually test it on all 28 symbols, but just to make this fast, I'll just test on the current symbol. I test it usually for 3 years, from January 2017 to 2020, January 2020. And then, so that's your in-sample testing. The out-sample testing, then I'll do it for the remaining part of 2020, so January to the present time. Okay? Alright. So, although we're testing a baseline, the tester needs to have confirmation 1 indicator always filled. Alright, so we'll use the indicator type most baselines and put in the name of the indicator. Okay, and then click on OK. So if you could see here that the screen changed and the tester has taken trades. So let's zoom in. On this big candle, the line crossed, so that's an entry signal. It enters here and it enters 2 trades. Okay, the candle closed below the baseline, so it entered here and it entered 2 trades. So this was a loss, and then so because there was a retracement. Now on this candle, okay, there's a buy signal. It entered here, okay, and you can see it took 2 trades. My first take profit was hit, and the second one was also profitable. So that's how you test for a base. to avoid the confusion. Let's bring up let's pull up another indicator. So this time we'll test a zero line cross for one of the more popular indicators, which is the cyan 2 high pass filter. Okay. Now just to make it easier, I'll put a zero level in so that we can see where the lines cross. Okay. Alright, so this is the lines, this is the zero level. Okay, so once the line crosses here, we can expect a trade to be entered long here. Once the signal line crosses the zero line here, or here, then we can expect the tester to enter a short trade on this candle right here. Okay. So let's move it forward, and we'll put in the name of the indicator. Here again, we're testing for a confirmation 1 indicator. Be sure to change the indicator type. So this is now a zero line cross. Okay, and when we click OK, you would see that the trades changed. Okay, so here we had a line cross as expected. We had an entry here, a long entry, which went our way. There was a slight dip. There was a sell signal here, so entered the sell signal on the next candle. It was a loss. Now we had a buy signal. Okay, here a sell signal here, so the sell was here. All right, there was a buy signal on this candle. We entered here. Okay, so you can see that it's very close to the entries. All right. Okay, so let's delete that indicator. Now here comes the tricky part. We'll test the opposite two line and the two line cross. So let's load up the indicator first. This is another popular indicator, the SSL. Okay, so we'll go to this section here. So we would have received a signal on this candle. The short would have started here, and we can expect it to go long, and we can expect that the signal was generated here, and that we would get a long trade from here. Okay, so we pull it up again, and we go to SSL, and we choose two lines cross. Okay, so as expected, what I was saying, that there is the sell signal, our entry, and the trade. There was a buy signal here, but there was a long wick candle down which hit our stop loss. Okay, here was a signal, we entered, it's a good trade. Here was a buy signal, we entered on the next candle, good trade. Sell signal, entry, good trade. Okay, so you can see here, based on these three examples, our first take profit was hit, but the price moved back, so their second profit target was break even. Okay, now this is very important, that when you test for two lines cross, that you visually check the entries, because if we selected a two lines opposite, you would see that it took the completely opposite trade. Instead of entering a short here, and instead of entering a long here and another short here, all the trades were wrong. Okay, all right, so we've seen an example of a baseline, a two line cross, and a zero line cross. Now let's do the two lines opposite. Okay, so let's remove this indicator. let's load up let's load the indicator. So this is another very popular indicator, the dual ulcer. All right. Okay. So here. All right. I'm just looking for an area where we were getting a lot of trades, but I don't know. I don't get that much. So we'll just concentrate on this area here. Okay. So again, pull up the tester. All right. And we enter the indicator name. Now, if I selected the wrong type of two-line cross and selected two lines, you would see here, all right, okay, that the entries were not clear. Okay, so in case I get something like this, wherein I get multiple entries, but there shouldn't have been any entry here because there was no signal, then I would just write this off as unreliable result and probably test it out manually. Okay. Okay, now because that's what we had, a two-line cross for that. But if I test it correctly, knowing for a fact that this is a two lines opposite cross, okay, I'm still getting signals when I'm still getting trades when there isn't any signal. So I won't use the results that I'm getting when building my algo. Okay. But let me go ahead and look for one opposite line cross that I know works well. Okay. So I found one. This is the RBI. Okay. Not baseball. All right. So if you could see here, we would have had a signal on this candle. We would expect a trade to be entered here, going long. We had a short signal here, so we can expect a trade to be entered short on this candle, and this would be a loss. Okay, that's what I'm expecting to see. So let's go ahead and load up the indicator now. Put in the indicator name, BH ergodic, and with the two lines opposite. So where was I? Okay. So as I was saying, we had a signal here. We entered a trade here. Okay. But the trade was still ongoing, so the tester didn't take a short trade. Okay. We had a short signal here. It entered a short here, and it was a loss. We had a long entry signal here. We entered here, and that was a win. And we had a short signal here. We entered here. That was a loss. Okay. If you would notice, during this entire length of the downtrend, there wasn't any other signals generated, so there weren't any signals generated here. So I would say that the results that I get from this one is pretty accurate. I had 147 trades over 3 years, 45%, a 46% win rate. Okay. A profit factor of 1.53. So all the results are down here. Okay. So those are how you test the indicators. Now what if you would want to put them all together? So it's very simple. Again, you go back to the tester. Okay. Since I already have the ergodic entered, I'll put in a baseline, which was the one we tested earlier, which was the hull moving average. I'll put it in baseline. I'll test this as a baseline. So now I have the baseline and a C1 indicator. And when I test it, okay, let's load the HMA trend indicator. Okay. So you can see here we had the baseline cross on this candle. We entered here. Our C1 was in agreement. That's why we entered a trade. Okay. We had a short signal on this candle. The C1 was in agreement. That's why we have a short trade, which was just break even. All right. On this candle as well, we had an entry signal here. C1 was in agreement, so we have a sell. Okay. Baseline crossed over, or price crossed over the baseline. We have C1 in agreement. That's why we have a buy signal, but it was a loss. Okay. And then we had another buy signal here. C1 is still saying bullish, so we had to buy. Okay. And with those two indicators combined, I didn't really get a high win rate. It actually dropped to 39% win rate. Okay. So once you've tested all the individual indicators, then the next thing will be to combine them to see what would give you the best win rate or the best results. All right. So I hope that's it for now. I'll go through custom indicators on the next video.